Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a physician, go through school, get into practice, and then decide that this is not your desire any longer? Well, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know working from their computers around the world, making money and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you were ever told you would not succeed. And remember to hit the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy. Our special guest today is Dr. Felicia Froh. Dr. Felicia Froh is the founder of Money with Mission, an investment company focused on empowering professional women to build wealth and achieve financial freedom through social impact investing. Dr. Froh is a licensed urological surgeon with over 20 years of experience. She has written many best-selling books, including How to Create Wealth That Outlives You. Plus, she is an advocate for sharing the great works others are doing for their community through her podcast, Money with Mission Podcast. I love it. So thank you. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Froh. And she's joining us again. This is another Californian. It is 4:30.
It is early. And I'm going to apologize for my background. My background just woke up. It's wrinkled. It didn't get itself together.
I love it. Hey. The green screen.
Did not want to get up this morning.
So when we first talked, you said that you went to school to become a urologist. Now, why did you choose this particular specialty?
So when I went into medical school, actually, I was going to be a pediatrician or a geriatrician or family practice or something like that. When we got into our rotations, those things just were too slow for me. And I called it boring at the time, but it was not enough getting people better, was what I've ultimately realized. And then when I went through the surgical specialties, it's like, okay, things happen a little faster here. You can actually fix something. And that fits my personality. Urology came down because that's where the happiest attendings were. And it's a mix of medicine and surgery. So you actually do form relationships with people. It's not like anesthesia and emergency room where you don't really get to form a relationship with a patient. Urology, you do form relationships. You follow them for a really long time. So that's what got me into urology.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. And Camila is laughing at us, and I guess that green screen in the back. After working for a short amount of time, you decided that you no longer wanted to be a physician.
No. Yeah, it didn't take very long. It was about less than 5 years in. I thought, yeah, I probably can do this for about 5 years. But people probably heard you say I've been doing it for 20. It has taken me a long time to have the courage, get over the fear, to step out. This is my third time quitting urology. I just quit again. My last day was January 31st. So this is my third time. And this is the longest quit. The last time lasted about a month. This is a little over a month. I'm a month and a day today, which is another reason I'm moving. I got to get away. So I want to go back.
It's like them clothes. You have to take the clothes out of the closet, okay, so that you don't grow back into them, right?
That is true.
I love it. I love it. And and that's a hard spin, right? Because what happens is we get into the profession and we don't understand how to. We just don't want to pivot because that's what we know. And that being comfortable is the thing that holds us back the most. I was talking to a lady on Clubhouse last night, and it was just, I could feel in her just being comfortable. And when you're comfortable, you're not growing. Exactly. And so there's many, many things that, we can do outside of, because Brandy, or she said this last night, she said, it is not we get stuck in that minutia of that one thing that we do, and we identify with that one thing. But the reality is that it can be right?
Yeah.
Because the reality is that we hold all these roles, right? We hold mother, we hold wife, we hold, whatever
Mhm,
profession we have,
mhm.
all those roles. And the reality is that we can do and all of that, right? And so I applaud you for doing that, and you're doing some great work. So I cannot wait to tell everybody. Anyway, so do you think that this is a common problem among physicians, that we are sometimes that the practices can do what can practices do to rectify the problem, because it is such a common problem?
I so back to what you were just talking about, and that's going to hopefully get to the answer to that. Is that I think people go into these professions, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a nurse, whatever you go to school for a long time because you have to work hard to get to these places. You think that's the last thing you're ever going to do. And my advice now to young people going into medical school or thinking about medicine, don't think it's the last thing you're ever going to do. Just think this is the next thing I'm going to do, and then move forward. So I think maybe if more people went into it with that, they'd be a little bit more relaxed. Do it. Maybe they'd last in medicine a lot longer, knowing they don't have to be there. Because part of that angst might be I have to be there. The other part of it is I think I was thinking about this question earlier about what could medicine do to fix it. A big overhaul, because part of the problem for me was is not being able to have those relationships with patients like I want to. I really like to form that. I think most diagnosis comes from spending time with somebody and talking to them, and medicine doesn't allow for that, doesn't allow you to do that anymore. You have to push people through to make enough money to cover your overhead and feed yourself. So the only way to do that is to see more people. So that became frustrating for me.
And one of the things that I like, my particular physician, he has a model where he doesn't charge for insurance. And so that
Mhm,
model helps him to be able to do that.
mhm.
But it can be challenging, especially as a surgeon. It's a little bit different,
Yeah.
as it relates to that. So yeah, I see that. Now you then went into real estate. Now, what was your attraction to real estate?
So back in 2004, I changed practices a lot trying to like medicine. So I went from Minnesota to Kansas City, and I started working with a group of women, and we bought a building, and we're going to have this building now. And I met this other woman who was in insurance. She built an insurance company basically, and she introduced me to a book, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that book doesn't talk about real estate investing. I mean, it does to some degree, but not about it specifically. It's more about different types of money and how money really works on a very basic level. And that just opened my eyes to so many things. Buying that building, talking to all these women who were really successful. I actually had a patient who was really young and could come. She just came anytime. It's not like some people you have to wait till after work or come before work. So just like, okay, whatever time. And I asked her what she did, and she was a real estate investor, and she'd been doing it for years. She was very instrumental. Those two women, Cheryl and Jamie, were very instrumental in me starting my real estate investing. Jamie went with me to my first house, walked through it. She goes, "Here's the deal. If you don't buy it, I'm going to buy it. If you buy it, I'll let you use my crew to rehab it. If you buy it and you lose money on it, I'll buy it from you." It's like
What's crudery habit?
her crew, her people
Okay.
to come in and sorry, thank you. Speak clearly. Her crew to rehab it.
Gotcha, gotcha. I love it. I love it. And so she said if you lost money on it, she would buy it.
She would buy it from me. So it was a no lose for me.
I love it.
No
I love
lose.
it. And
Yeah.
see, and that's the thing is that, you want people that, and I think that we don't get to that point, right? We don't get to that point where we're pulling people, ahead with us. I remember when I went back to get my BSN, and Christy Bullock was so instrumental in how she was just so patient with me, because it was such a like I thought that it was such this big thing, right?
Mhm.
And it ended up being an amazing process because she helped me to get through that. And so it's very much in the same way. I love it that she was like, well, if you don't buy it, I'm gonna buy
Yep. And
it.
I and that's stepping out to let somebody know what you want. Because a lot of us, we a lot of times we won't tell somebody that you want to. Telling people that I wanted to leave medicine was hard. I had a lot of negativity around that. And so a lot of people wouldn't do that, right? So you don't tell anybody I'm looking at real estate or I'm looking at going to get my BSN because like people start talking me down or you get one negative comment and you're just like, okay, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. So nobody knows you're trying to do it, so nobody can help you. You just have to keep talking about it until you get to that person who's like, oh yeah, I got you. Come on, I'll show you how to do that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And the fact that, the young lady was like she has owned her own time, right? She's like, whatever time I need to come in here, I've owned my own time. And Camila said it's sad what medicine has become. And it is true. It is so, so true.
Yeah.
And you said that you went from 0 to 18 properties and
Yep.
lost them all.
Every single one. So after that first one, we just put the foot on the gas and bought and bought and bought and bought and bought and bought and rehabbed and bought, and it got ahead of us. We got too many properties and couldn't get them rehabbed. That was my first time leaving medicine actually, and all those things. It was just all there, and then 2008 happened, and we couldn't get more money. We just couldn't do it, and so that giving up on something is a hard thing to do. So saying, okay, I am not going to dig this hole deeper and put more money into this. I mean, just I'm not going to do it because it's a losing proposition. And letting them all go was a very hard thing for me to do. Very hard. Um, but we did, and it was ugly for a long time. You decide you push one domino, and a whole bunch of other things happen that you didn't see were going to happen. So it was ugly for a while. I came out on the other side of that good. I'm good, smarter. No, I realized, like it's not real estate. Real estate was not the problem. My and our knowledge was the problem. What we didn't
Uh,
know was the problem. So more education, more people around me. I got around from those women that helped. I got away from those women that helped me buying those 18. You think you know everything now, right? So you start just get in there and start doing it. I'm sure one of them would have said, you might want to slow down a little bit, but I didn't ask. So there we go.
I love that. Sum total of the people that you hang out with,
Yep.
and the fact that you yourself have to grow every single solitary day in order to be able to grow the people around you, in order to grow yourself for sure. So now, tell me what is one of the biggest lessons that you learned during that time?
A team. You have to have a team. You have to have people to talk to. You have to have people to bounce your ideas off of. Because I get very excited and just want to go, and I start trusting everything. I trust everybody. And if I had those people, if I had talked to people, it's like, oh, give me, what do you think about this? And not for them to make the decision for me, but to just give me some insight that I might not have, may have made a big difference in what I did or didn't do. It's definitely making a difference in what I do or don't do now.
Sweet. I love it. I love it. So now, you do real estate investment with syndication. Now tell the audience what that is and how and why it works. Because when you first told me, I was thinking TV syndication. What is she talking about? But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell
And
us. Educate us.
real estate syndication is a way for average people, us, to invest in big things. So you drive by these gigantic apartment complexes and you wonder who owns that. Some corporation owns that, some multi-billionaire owns that. In all likelihood, probably 100 doctors own it or 100 nurses own it, and they've just put all their money together. Somebody's managing it and bought it. That process of putting the money together to buy that thing is a syndication.
I
And
love it. I
now
love it.
all those people are making money off of that big apartment building. All those people can say, I own that apartment building or that apartment complex, and you just move on. That's to me, the a quick way. And if you're like still, you love your job, you want to keep doing your job, you don't, that's just your thing, and you want another stream of income, this is a way to get it.
I love it. I love it. So, I remember I was because we're looking to buy property outside of our original home, and there was a property that was in Myrtle Beach, and it was a huge house, right?
Mhm.
And they put out this number, and I was like, there is no way in the world that that house can be that amount of money, right? Because it
Mhm.
was such a low number. But then I found out that that was one part of five people
Oh,
who owned the house
okay.
in that way, very much in the same way that you're talking about. So now
Oh,
it
I see.
makes a lot more sense now.
Okay. Okay.
So now you wanted to have a social impact on your community. What was the driving force for you wanting to do something that was for the greater good of your community?
So I started real estate investing back in 2006, 2007. And after we lost everything, I came back in and started doing syndications and syndicated an apartment building. Was looking, most people do things like apartment building, storage units, and those kinds of things. And those just didn't excite me. They didn't move me at all. It was just like, yeah, this is kind of boring. And what's the big deal? I learned about assisted living homes, and then that was my first actual real syndication, was assisted living home. And that process, that owning that business, seeing that and having an impact on the people that it's having an impact on, it's my investors, it's my staff, it's the people that live there. That drives me. That made me happy. That said, oh, this is why I want to do this. I want this to make a difference, not just to be making money. And that's not to say anything against multifamily investors, because they bring good housing to people. All the people that I know, nobody that I know is a slumlord. They buy a property and they fix it up and make it nicer for somebody to live into. It just doesn't do it for me. So I want something that's going to make a big difference, like assisted living, where I know I can make that business the best place for those people to live.
I love it. Because what happens is, after you gain so much money, and initially that's the driving force, but after you get it, then you're like, I just want to make, I just I want to search out my passion. I want
Mhm.
to do the thing that I love to do, the thing that I would do if no one paid me. That's the thing that I would do all the time. And
Yeah.
so that's one of the reasons why I love coaching, because that's the thing that I would do if no one paid me, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Again, I would get my coins, but
You have to. I mean, we have to eat. I
right.
mean, if our basic needs are not met, we can't help anybody. So our basic needs have to be met. But then when, money for money's sake is just not anything. It's
That's
just
right.
there. So and a lot of people won't go for it if they don't have I'm fed, my kids are fed, I have a house. What do I need more money for? Because they don't have a big enough passion of what they want to accomplish in the world. So that's why I say people, when they start looking to invest, I'm like, why are you doing it? What's the driving thing? For, I want to have more money. No, you don't. That's not the that's, I mean, you don't say, I don't say no, you don't. I'm like, but why do you want more money? So you got to really drive down to it, just like you do in coaching. You drive down to what's your reason for really getting into it. What's going to make you get up? What's going to make you put in $25,000, $50,000, risk that money to do something? What are you trying to get to?
That's right. That's right. I love it. So now you said that you were interested in putting grocery stores in food deserts. Now explain to the audience what a food desert is.
Okay, food deserts are, there's not an exact definition, but if you think of an area of a town where lower income people live, and it doesn't have to be lower income, but it tends to be lower income because they don't have a car, they don't have transportation, so there's no grocery store within 1 or 2 miles of where you live. You have the place where we're building our grocery stores and our food processing is the whole upper part, the whole northern part of Tulsa. It's Tulsa, Oklahoma. The whole northern part of Tulsa is a food desert. There were quick trips and dollar stores and those kinds of things, but no grocery store. Go to South Tulsa, there's grocery stores everywhere. So people would get on a bus, go to Walmart, get their food. It's a, however many hour trip to get your groceries. And that's just, it's not sustainable, really. And it's not, I think about it this way. If you knew your groceries are around the corner and you didn't have to plan a whole day to go do your grocery shopping, what other things could you get done in a day?
That's
What else
exactly
could you put
right.
into your head if you know the groceries are right there. I just go over there and get them.
That's true. That's true. And the reality is that, because I used to live in a food desert,
Hmm.
because I lived in a small town, and the next grocery store was 30 miles away, and I didn't realize the impact that I have. And I tell my husband all the time, because my husband wants to move out into the country and he wants the next person to be 30 miles away, and I said that's not going to happen. We can't do that. Okay. So I have to have the next grocery store to be 2 minutes away. We just can't do that. So I
It
mean,
takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of planning if that grocery store is a long way away. My boyfriend lives in the country. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, if you forget something, it's just like forgotten. You're not going back to get that.
ain't nobody got time for that. Yes, yes, yes. I hear you. I hear you.
And that
And that's one of the things that I hated, because I used to live on a pretty popular lake here in North Carolina. And people were always like, it's just you I loved where you live. And I was like, I hate it. Because I did not like, having to go a long ways away. Now, they now have a grocery store that is right there that they can go to at this point. But I mean,
Mhm.
it took them a long time in order to get that
Yeah.
there. And I said, I mean, you had to have this big old satellite, because you didn't have, the cake. I just ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. No, I need my luxuries. All right. Yep.
And you were lucky you had a car. Well, I mean, you would if you didn't have a car, you would have been out there going, and there was no Instacart and there was no, DoorDash and any of that stuff. No, you were just out there.
Out
And in
there.
a lot of these places, that's still not there. So, and people can't afford it. So they need to just I live in a food desert too. Fortunately, I have a car that I can drive, but it's like, this is ridiculous. I'm with you, this is ridiculous. It's like,
I
or I,
love it.
or I stop at the quick store and pay $10 for some milk. I'm like, yeah, come on now.
Exactly. It is $10 for milk. Crazy. So now I guess Rich Dad Poor Dad is the book that you have read that has impacted your life. Is there another book that you've read?
Oh gosh, there's so many books. The War of Art. The
Mm,
War of Art. So I'm like, that was on my desk. It's by Stephen Pressfield, and it's a book that talks about. He's a writer, and by writer he wrote Bagger Vance, that play Bagger Vance with Will Smith. He's a golfer, golf caddy,
mm,
and he talks about getting out of your own way. He talks about it's actually a good and evil. It's if you're religious, it's God and the devil. And the devil in his book is resistance. And that resistance keeps you and will keep you from doing things, and talks about how to get past it, how to recognize it and how to get past it so that you can do your work. We are here for something, and resistance will keep you from doing it. It tries, it works, it is its whole existence is to keep you from getting your work done. And then he
I
just talks about how do you see it so you can move on and get your work done and give the world what you're supposed to give it.
And that resistance is hard, and creating those habits every day. We talked about the fact that I called the hospital because I needed to call the hospital for something this morning, and the physician was like, "Well, I didn't mean to wake you up," and I was like, "I was already up. I'm good." And it is literally the habit that has changed my life, because
Yeah.
had I not developed that habit, that resistance would be so much easier
Yep.
to just to lay back and chill out. So now you have a new ebook. Tell us about that, as well as tell us the audience where they can find you.
So my book is How to Create Wealth That Outlives You, and you can get it either in hard copy, paperback, or ebook. So you can go to my website, moneywithmission.com. I think it's under resources. Click around, you'll find it, and you can download the book, get a free copy, read it. You'll find a lot of things on my website. The other thing is 7 steps to create resilient wealth, and it's actually more of a workbook. So if you start with that, there's just different tests, there's different things to do, thinking about your why, thinking about the hows, but the first thing is the why. Why do I want to do this? Why would I step out and do something any different than what I'm already doing? Just what we talked about early on, getting into really why do you want to do it? And you'll, if you get to your why, you will move. You will definitely move forward.
I love it. Yeah, and the why is my why. Of course, is my family and my children. The my why is making sure that they don't have to do the things that I had to do in order to get to where I am currently, right?
Yeah.
So those are the creating generational wealth. So my grandchildren, because and I say this all the time. I like my children, I love them even, but oh my God, them grandchildren. I mean, they the bomb.com. That's all I got to say about that. I mean that. That's all I got to say about that.
I like your why. My why is very similar, and mine is to show my children. I have two daughters, to show them that no matter what, you can get done what you want to get done. So it makes me get up every day when I don't want to, and I wanted to say, "Ugh, I'm tired. I don't, it's just I got beat up yesterday. This thing's wrong. That thing is wrong." It's like, no, you can overcome that. You just figure it out. Marie Forleo says everything is figure outable, and everything is figure outable. You just got to
That's
figure it out. It happens.
That's right. Just last week I had a friend that passed away, and she was just like she was the light of the world. Like
Mm.
she was the light, and she taught her children that very same thing. Our girls, my oldest and her youngest were best friends, and
Mhm.
she was that one friend that like we always had to keep our thumb on them, right?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
you know how the children are, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so we were always conversing back and forth just to make sure that we were making sure that they were okay. And she was 51 years old, and it
Mm.
was very unexpected. And she just through her life, just through her living, she taught how to become an entrepreneur, how to live life to its fullest, how to step out on that plank, right? Push you off the cliff and keep it moving and
Yeah.
fly as you're
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So thank you. Thank you. You are super interesting. And I just, I love it that we have connected now.
I'm excited too. And there just how we met on Clubhouse. So Clubhouse, I don't know if everybody knows, this is a new app. It's not really that new, but you go on there, interact, go on there, interact, talk to people, Instagram, find somebody you think you want to talk to, just say hello. You never know what's going to happen.
That's exactly right. Because I learn things every single solitary day. And I've learned a lot this morning. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing, and the nurse nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know, working from their computers around the world, making money and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders such as Dr. Fro that have overcome, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you were ever told that you would not succeed. And remember to click the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy. You guys have a phenomenal day. And thanks, Camila, for all your comments. You are phenomenal.